Let's chop it up. Alright, so today we're going to go over how to do vocal chops. I'm not going to get too detailed with it, and I'm actually not going to go into slice X and chop up the vocals and all of that, but I just want to give a basic overview of how to record it. It's kind of interesting. You can actually just mumble some things, some melodies that might go with it, and it's actually better if you don't have any lyrics and you're not actually singing any words. That way it leaves room for the artist to write their lyrics over it, and it's just basically it acts as just another instrument in the track. And I'm just gonna, the first part I want to do is I just want to show you an example of me singing what's going to become a vocal chop. So here it is. All night. Alright, so that was me singing. As you heard, it was just kind of some gibberish. They're like words, almost words. And the reason I do that is basically since the voice is like another instrument on the track, you really want to you don't want any actual words to be sung because that leaves room for the artist to write their own lyrics over it, and it just acts as another instrument. So that's what we sang there. And let me just play what that sounds like. Give me 1 second. I'm going to take all the plugins off. And let's bring the playlist out. Here we go. Alright, so I'm going to go through the plugins one by one. I'm not going to play each one as I add them, but I just want you to know what I did for the vocal stack here. Good thing about vocals is, or a good thing about like vocal chops is you don't need to give it the same attention that you might give like a lead vocal that needs to be understood clearly, de-essed, all of those other things. This one, like I said, it's just another instrument. So the first thing I added was a Parametric EQ. I felt that recording had a lot of boxiness and a lot of low end that I didn't want, so I used that as kind of a subtractive EQ to take those out. I'll show you what that looks like real quick. As you can see, it's almost like a radio voice, almost to that extreme. Then I put a compressor on there. I use Waves V comp compressor and just use a vocal preset to bring it forward. Oops, I accidentally hit the space bar there. But just to bring it forward and to even it out. I used Fiverr, which is a free kind of analog EQ. I use that to boost the kind of the high mids and also a little bit of the high end as well. I even added fresh air after that just to let it shimmer and shine just a little bit more. Right after that, I used a compressor, CL-2, CLA2 from Waves to kind of glue that last EQ together. Then I use Vastus, which is, it tames harsh frequencies, smooths out the vocals. And then there's fresh air, and then I used Auto-Tune. And I didn't use it on the fastest setting. Here, I'll show you that real quick. You know, the retune speed, I kept it around 14, just so it didn't T-pain it too much, but it still helped keep everything perfectly in key. Then, over here, I added, this is the secret sauce, a little altar boy, and I'll show you what I did with that. If you don't have that plugin, definitely worth the price, and if you wait for Black Friday or a sale, you can get it for 39 bucks. But let's listen to it without altar boy. So that's cool. What little altar boy does is it changes the pitch and it changes like the timbre of the voice. So they call it format. Basically, let me show you what it does. So this is the preset I have for it. I left the pitch the same, but I turned the format all the way down to add more like bassiness and heft to the voice. And you could go to the other extreme. and chipmunk it, right? But I felt like this quality is what I wanted for this particular take. And so that's what we have. And it's good that I took out all of that bottom and mid low range frequencies, because as you can hear, when you turn that format down, it kind of brings a lot of those back. So when I was putting this together, I actually went back and took out more of that mid and low end, and that's how we get the sound that we have here. Okay. Then what I did was, since this vocal stack took up so many inputs on the mixer channel, I bussed it over to a Vocal Chop send channel for my effects. So if you look right here, this is routing to this track only. And then when you go to the vocal sends, that's what puts it out to the master channel, but it also adds it to these effects. And I have 5, but I only ended up using 4. So there's a plate reverb, which is kind of a little snapback real. It's basically like those early reflectors in a reverb. So if you're in a small room, the very first reverb you might hear. I added a hall reverb, so something with a long tail on it, a doubler, and delay. And I'll show you what it sounds like with all of those effects. There's the plate. I'll show you each one just so you can see what it looks like. Here's the plate. The decay right here is almost non-existent, and I only use the wet. And if there's no dry and it's only wet, that means that you can use this fader to decide exactly how much plate verb you want to add. And let's just hear it with each effect. So here it is with plate. Hear that little bit of reverb? Yeah, it's just kind of a snap reverb there. And then we added the hall, and I added a limiter here. And what this does is I've got it side changed. So the vocal sends channel is sending a signal of the voice to the reverb. So the reverb kind of ducks below, so you can hear the voice clearly when it's singing. And then when the voice is done singing, then it lets all of that long tail and that reverb flow. And that sounds like this. It just helps the main signal not get swallowed by the reverb. And you can add a lot of long tail onto that. And I also added an auto-tune after the reverb. Here, just to tune the reverb, so when it is, if I happen to be a little bit off pitch in the vocal, that reverb, when it's extending out, will be perfectly on pitch. Then the double. You can kind of hear what that's doing. There we go. But we don't want that much, obviously. And then finally the delay. Here, I'll turn it up. That's what the delay's doing. And it's all wet. All of them are completely no dry signal, all wet signal. So I'm only turning up the delay when I turn it up. I'm not turning up the main vocal at all. Alright, and that's the first half. The next thing we're going to add is I put the same exact vocal chain and just tweaked it a little bit here and there based on the EQ needs. Added it again. Added, this sends channel is going to all the same effects at the same level. This has all the same plugins. The big difference is Little Altar Boy on this one. So instead of putting the format all the way down and leaving the pitch the same, I turned the pitch all the way up, which is an exact octave, or 12, half steps, up, And then I did turn the format down just a little bit to so it wasn't so chipmunky, but it's just a nice complement to the main vocal to help it shimmer and shine. So I'll show you what that sounds like. All right, and that's pretty much it. And now let's hear it. The reason that I brought that top end out so much was because when you play it with the actual track, the lower vocal was kind of getting lost. And when I kept bringing that up, it kept sounding better and better. So here it is with the track. Oh, hold on. I think I have it muted on the mixer channel. One sec. Here we go. Here it is with the track. We'll go all the way to the beginning. And that's pretty much it. So I'm still working on this track. All I have is a loop right now. So I actually exported this vocal chop out and put it as a kind of a sample into the actual track. And there is where you could put it into something like SliceX or a tool like that, or into Edison even, and you can chop it into different pieces and bits and kind of play with that sample and chop up the vocal a little bit. But that's basically how you can record your own vocal chop with effects like that. The secret is Little Altar Boy, if you can get that. I think there might be some free alternatives. I'll take a look and see if there's anything I can recommend, but Little Altar Boy is very easy to use, and it's worth the $39 if you can get it on sale. So I hope this little demo has been helpful to you. If you liked it, then click the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, tell a friend. I'd really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video.